everybody, Andy here again, sitting out in a lovely Sussex countryside. Come down a little path that I didn't know existed and found myself sitting on a nice bit of stone here. Look, very handily positioned, very nice of God to put this here for me to sit on. But what I wanted to talk about, 20th anniversary in September 1991, it's another one of those anniversaries. The Nirvana album Nevermind was released, and it was one of those albums that changed music at the time, and 20 years later, you know, we can all look back on it. And I know that people have said about, well, Kurt Cobain, if he was alive now, because unfortunately he killed himself, I think it was 1994, if he was alive now, you know, well, or he'd be turning in his grave if he knew that all this fuss was being made about that particular album. But talking to other people, you realise, and one of those sort of things that you think about with this is, if he didn't want to be successful, because apparently he's sort of anti-success and he wouldn't, as I said, he wouldn't want all this fuss and he didn't like the fuss at the time, why do you sign to a major record label? I know they released an album on a smaller label, the Sub Pop album, before they signed to Geffen and all this type of thing. And this is very much a musical-based video, by the way, so if you're not into music, you probably better turn away and go somewhere else, I think. So there's that argument about, yes, okay, you might not have liked all the fuss, but if he didn't want all the fuss to be made in the first place, back in 1991, and all the success that the band did have, why did you sign those publishing deals, those record deals, and do all that sort of stuff and get involved in that circus? Maybe you didn't realise, but come on, everybody knows that. Everybody, you know, we all want to be rock stars, or so many people want to be rock stars. So few people actually get that opportunity to do it. I've tried to do it in the past, and I'm sort of doing it to a certain extent now via somebody else. And yes, and having this discussion with one of the members of the band yesterday about exactly this point. If you don't want to be there, you shouldn't get involved in the first place, because there's always that sort of chance. And it's a bit like this. It's a bit like making videos on YouTube or anything, that writing blogs or whatever. If you put something out there, you should be sensible enough to realise that you never know quite what's going to happen. Every time you put something in the public domain, it might be a very small chance, but there's a chance that someone might spot you, and then all hell may well break loose. If you're not prepared for that, keep it private. You know, whether it be a video, whether it be a blog, whether it be your own music that you record, keep it private. Yes, you might need to get it out there. I totally understand that sort of thing, that you've got something inside you, that anger, whatever it might be, the youthful sort of exuberance you want to get out there. I understand that, and there needs to be a release. You don't want that sort of pressure cooker to go bang. It's better to get it out there in the open one way or the other, but keep it private if you don't want other people to see it. That's why people used to write diaries all those years ago, wasn't it? You had to supposedly keep them locked up unless your mother happened to sneak in and try and read it. That's why we did it. It's that little bit of release. It gets it out there, so that you don't feel it quite so much. It's a psychiatrist's couch type of thing again, isn't it? But that aside, where does that leave us now with, you know, Nirvana and everything? Another one of the conversations I've been having is that I bought that album not long after it came out, and I'll say now, I still like the album. It Smells Like Teen Spirit to me. It's still one of my favourite songs ever, and I still hold it out to be one of the most exciting songs that's ever been written, ever been recorded. Partly due to the production, but it's the lyrics, all that type of thing as well. The excitement of that particular song. But overall, I've said this often, and I've been knocked down for it, is that I do believe that Nirvana are a little bit overrated. I think too much was made of them. Yes, partly because they changed music at that particular time. And one of the reasons for that, I feel, and having this conversation once again with younger people, who Nirvana were really the big thing. They came about in their youth. Nirvana for me were 15 years later. My Nirvana moment was the punk era, and for other people it would have been Elvis Presley in the rock and roll era, something that revolutionised music and maybe revolutionised the way that people thought as well, and appealed to you as a teenager. You had to be around at the right time. People were around, Elvis came along, rock and roll came along, that changed the face of music. Punk came along and changed everything as well in its own way, and ripped up the rule book, and that was my time. 1977, I was 19. Obviously come along to 1991, and I'm considerably older, and it doesn't have the same effect on me. I don't get it inside. I'm affected by the music, I find it exciting, etc., but it doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't sort of sing to me as such, as a young, affected, you know, disgruntled teenager or something like that. And the Smiths did it to an extent as well, and they appealed because of their music, because of their lyrics. They appealed to certain types of people. So, you know, that's what I say to people. I may say they're slightly overrated, but that's probably because it wasn't meant for me. It's like all this other music. It's like rap music and the music that's in the charts that all us old fogies moan and bitch about. Oh, it's awful. Yes, it's not meant for me. It's like certain radio stations. They're not meant for my generation. I can still listen to them. I can still appreciate them. But it's best not to moan about them too much because they're not really aimed at you. They're aimed at your kids. They're aimed at other people. And if they appeal to people, they sort of influence people and they talk to people of a certain age, that's what it's there for. But talking about Nirvana all those years ago, we really need something now. We need another Nirvana, another Sex Pistols, another Elvis Presley or something like that to come along and really kick the arse of the music business as it is now, especially in the rock genre. I think other types of music, I suppose, are probably doing too well, and it's all singer-songwriters or it's all individual singers. Where have all the bands gone? And even the ones that are around aren't really that good. The only reason they're being successful because they're the only options that we've actually got. We really need something to come along like a Nirvana and kick the arse of the rock music business, if nothing else. So we're looking for that. If you've got any suggestions, let me know. If you want to chime in on this particular argument, what was your sort of punk moment? What was your Nirvana moment? What was your Sex Pistols time? Or maybe you missed it. That's another thing. You know, if you're not in the right place at the right time, you may never get that opportunity to, sort of shout and scream and pogo up and down to the Sex Pistols or the Buzzcocks or the Clash or something, or jump around and wear baggy jeans and, lots of power chords and that for Nirvana fans or things like that. Or even wear daffodils in your back pocket if you're a Smiths fan, or Teddy Boy drapes if you're an Elvis fan. That may have all passed you by. You weren't the right age group. I'm glad that I was alive and around and a disaffected teenager when the Sex Pistols did come along, and I'm very happy for all those people who were disaffected teenagers when Nirvana came along as well. So I totally understand their devotion to that music and why it appealed to them and why it talked to them. It just didn't do it quite for me, for the reasons that I've spoken about. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. Thanks for your time. I'll speak to you again soon. Goodbye.